When kids are coming to the farm and learning about food, starts with their eyes in the field. Full sensory experience, the harvesting, the bringing back, but then they're reliving what they just experienced in the field, not less than 10 minutes later in a cooking capacity. Welcome back to the Amber Waves Farmcast. We're so happy to be here this afternoon with Ann Jones Levine, our Director of Education, Farmer Amanda. Today.
We're name tagged today.
We are name tagged today. We're going to get into that. And Ann, you are with us today because we're going to play.
We are going to play.
And we're going to play with food. And in your role at Amber Waves, you teach and guide and play and let children explore the farm field through farm-based education. So we're going to talk about that. And we're going to cook with you, just like you cook with kids on the farm.
Very simple.
So why don't you kick us off with the first thing we're going to make together?
Well, when I start a cooking class with the children, I like to get everyone settled into their place setting. Everyone has a cutting board, and they're very excited to have a knife, a chopper, scissors, and a wash rag. And then usually I have silver bowls, a cup, and maybe some sort of sauce container. So these are the things. Oh, and very importantly, we have a colander over here. So you would have harvested your vegetables. We would have gone to Tomatoland. We would have gotten a sprig of basil, some oregano, or whatever we're cooking that day, and you would be bringing it back in your colander, and you would sit at your table, and this would be in front of you.
So when children come to the farm, it's a unique situation in that we have a kitchen for kids right on the farm. So what's that experience like for them when they get here? Like, what have you crafted for them of how they experience food from harvesting it to cooking with it?
The experience is just such a pleasure, and it's so sensory oriented. I mean, we're out in the tomatoes, we're out in the herb garden, and their nervous systems are just starting to calm, but then they also get really excited, but they get to smell everything and be in the sunshine. So they're walking back and they get to this kitchen, and not only do they get to see these very sharp objects, which you get really excited about, they get to wash their vegetables. And this colander, the colander is such a simple thing. So you see holes in the bottom, you're holding this basket, you've been carrying this basket all the way from the field, and
they're
you're just
harvesting right into their colander.
Right into your colander. And they're just so excited about it. Yeah, so you're just carrying this thing. Often you're running, you're tripping, and you're spilling. There's tomatoes falling everywhere, but the kids know how important what they harvested is, and so they all help each other put it back in the colander. So we get to the kitchen, and then we have these water basins. I guess it's you use them on the farm
the wash tubs, yeah.
The wash tubs, yeah. So it's like a horse trough or whatever you want to describe it as. But they're actually dipping their vegetables into this big trough, and the water streams out from the bottom and makes this incredible waterfall sound. And they do it a lot. They just do it a lot. They could stay there all day doing that. So it's so much fun. And then you're just oh, sharp things. Okay, and they just want to start chopping immediately. But there are lots of steps. We follow a lot of steps, very simple steps, and then the output is you get to eat it in about 20 minutes, which is really exciting. So it's fun. It's certainly chaotic, but we've gotten it to the point where all of these tools are just chosen specifically for the recipe. There's nothing extra. We don't put anything on the table that they don't need, because immediately they're going to just go for it.
To want to use
They want to use everything. They really do.
Yeah.
So let's talk about sharp objects and tools as a way, a teaching tool and an empowerment tool. What do you experience when you have kids who are ready to use the tools? What guidance would you give parents to be it's okay to give your kid a kid-friendly knife? In fact, you should. And you should do it at what age and how soon and why? So the tool is kind of the path in after the harvesting. What about tools?
It is, yeah. I think kids love it that you trust them with a sharp object. I mean, this is not really that sharp, but it looks sharp, and it could cut your finger.
So for
you don't want to wave it around, So
for people who are listening and not watching, what sharp object are you describing?
I'm holding a white plastic knife that is serrated, but if you run your finger along the edge of it, it will barely cut a tomato skin. So we often have to say, hey kids, tomatoes are very roly-poly, especially the sun gold. So you have to hold them and saw it with your knife. So so it's not like you're going to be, they'll squish really easily with it.
Right.
And so we use the knife instead of the chopper for the tomato, because the tomato essentially is going to squirt out some delicious juice.
Yeah.
Which is fun. certainly.
Different kind of
Okay,
fun,
and then
yeah.
what's the difference with this secondary tool, which looks like something like more like a mini guillotine?
Yes, it does look like a
It's
guillotine.
maybe downward pressure of a knife.
Yes, and we often have to say, children, don't hold the cucumber like this and try to chop like this. You know, we have to sort of talk about the reason you have a cutting board is you're going down and you're chopping. But the sound of chopping really is very fun.
Right.
Very fun.
And I think the importance of teaching like culinary knife skills to as early as what age are you teaching
I
them?
would say 2 is okay, but you know, obviously supervised. You're
Yeah,
with them. You're doing this as, you know, like an activity together.
Right.
And you're having a great time.
Okay, great. Okay, so that's some tools.
Yeah.
Speaking of tools, you have a fun tool here that you brought as your prop. Do you
Yes.
want to tell us what
I
this
do.
tool is and maybe introduce us to? This is a fun activity to do with kids.
Yeah. This is what we call a spiralizer.
Spiralizer. Okay.
So what I've used this for 2 different recipes this summer. So we made sesame cucumber noodles. Very simple. You basically like cut the cucumber.
I see you have a grown-up knife there.
I do, but I often have bowls of pre-cut things for the kids. If we aren't harvesting, say I don't have like 18 cucumbers somewhere to harvest, I'll have some that I get from the farmers. So yes, I just cut that. You heard the sound. The smell is fantastic. So this spiralizer here gives you the opportunity to make noodles. Now, when you say noodles to children, they're like, pasta? And you're like, well, close. Vegetable noodles. And then they're very suspicious. But if you let them do it and they watch it spiralize, they get really excited. Now we can try this. We have to go over how to use this item. You know, there's teeth here, so you don't put your finger here, obviously. Okay. There's very sharp little teeth here, and there's like a little knife here. But there is this cool little hole that you put your cucumber in, and then you press the teeth down. And then you're going to just go around now.
Okay, so you've compressed the cucumber between 2 blades, and you've created a setting here where it looks like you're spiralizing and it's turning into cucumber spaghetti.
Exactly.
So I'm familiar with this, like with another cucurbit, usually the zucchini, but I have never done this with a cucumber.
Yes, doodles for zucchini noodles.
Yeah, but never cutles.
Never cute.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Cutles.
My gosh. Okay, so this is fun. This is a fun high summer season.
It is. And
salad.
You could simply just
like I want it right now. Like
so good, because all you need is some soy sauce, maybe some salt, and like some sesame seeds, and you know, like you could add some herbs, maybe some fresh basil or something like that. You could perhaps
it's like a pretty elevated salad.
It's really amazing.
Cut some tomatoes. Again, saw your tomatoes with your knife here. Put it right in there. I mean, you could do so many things.
And this is like building into color.
How pretty is that?
It's like visually beautiful, texturally interesting, and then also edible just with hand or fork you've provided us. So I think that there's something here that reminds me of you can eat with your eyes first, but the eating here when kids are coming to the farm and learning about food starts with their eyes in the field, right? So eyes in the field, full sensory experience, the harvesting, the bringing back, but then they're reliving what they just experienced in the field, not less than 10 minutes later in a cooking capacity. And to have those two linked very closely together in time and space, really, I think, empowers kids to make the connection of, I know where my food just came from because I picked it, and now I'm going to do a simple preparation to change it, and then I get to eat it with my friends. So what would you say, because I hear from a lot of families, they might say, oh, my kid is super picky and doesn't eat vegetables. But what has your experience been with even parents who would tell you that before a cooking class, and maybe that's why they're here? What do you see happen with kids when they're together cooking? Is there some peer pressure? Is there some, what goes on?
I think there's peer pressure for sure. You see what other people are doing around you. There's also curiosity, because now you've harvested this thing, you brought it in, you chopped it with something sharp, you were able to, they let you pour things on top of it. And you maybe spilled some stuff, and nobody really cared. It's fine. You know, you got a bowl of salt, and they let you actually put a pinch on it or whatever else you put on. You cut the basil in some wacky way, and you put it on there, and you're like, That's pretty, and maybe I'm a little curious. Although I don't eat vegetables. I'm strictly like a no vegetable person. But they usually can't help themselves.
And then it's like eating your arts and crafts project.
Oh my gosh, exactly. Nailed it. Yes, so it is like that. And then usually they find something about it that they like. Oh, I don't like tomatoes, but I do like cucumbers, or I like pasta, but the association with pasta is always like a win.
Yeah.
Because, pasta is pretty much everyone's favorite food.
Most kids are eating pasta. And this is a pasta substitute. I think that when, even when I'm picking this up, it's kind of like for an adult to be able to then share right then and there with their kids, I think is something that's really special. Or, oh, look what I made for you.
Yes, I was just about to say that. A lot of times when the kids don't want to eat something in the classroom, they'll say, I'm making it for my mom or my grandmother who has a garden, or my dad or my caregiver or whatever, and that's always like a good excuse. I'm always like, all right, I'll accept it. But, I'm like, I'd rather you try it. But, if they can't do that, then they'll take it home. And then that is going to be a beautiful conversation later in the day over the dinner table. I was in Amber Waves today, and this is what I did, and they're so proud of it,
Yeah.
The pride is very sweet to see. I always write their name on it, and I don't know what it looks like when it gets back to the family.
the take home?
Yes, I'm always wondering.
Takeout? Amber Waves take.
Because they often like to shake it, and then I don't know if it stays in their backpack for a while or what happens, but all the caregivers and parents are very loving, so of course they're going to be like, oh my goodness, you made this, and it's amazing. So the stories weren't really there. But.
Can you talk a little bit about intergenerational cooking that you've done here at the farm, meaning child, parent, grandparent,
yes,
and when that unites and that comes together?
Yes. Well, what I've noticed with all of our classes is that grandparents are coming to all of our classes now. Like, we can't really limit how many people are coming and joining these little farmer classes or the cooking classes, And the grandparents love coming to cooking classes. But yes, we have a family cooking class, and we had it twice a week this year. We introduced it last year. It's at 1:30 in the afternoon, and a whole family will come book out a table or two, and sometimes they bring grandma or grandpa. I love grandpa this year, so cute. I don't know if he spoke English, but he was doing everything, and so cute. It was wonderful, and the kids are they're just enjoying each other's company in such a wholesome way. It's so wholesome. And they're eating together, and they're eating a lot. A lot of the families, I noticed that the families finish their meals. They don't really take them home in the to-go containers. They eat them there. They take the time to sit with each other, and this is like a really special experience. So I'm really proud of that one.
That's good. What do you think some of your favorites are, or I guess the fan favorites for recipes that you've done?
Well, I would say pizza is always like a real win, of course. And we do pesto pizza, and then this year I snuck in zucchini into the red sauce because it just...
Red sauce that you made in advance?
No, well, we make everything. So we have this like really large cauldron. It's a big soup cauldron or a witch's cauldron or whatever you want to call it. And you can get it at an ag supply store. That's basically how the cooking program started. I got that, and I was cooking with it on the patio over there, and we were making soup the first fall that I decided I was gonna cook. And that just started everything. Everyone, you see, first you put the garlic in, and then you smell the garlic in the sauce or in the olive oil, and that the whole class immediately starts, it just gets so exciting. Yeah, so that was the start of everything. And so what we did was this year, it's very easy to make a tomato sauce, but everything has to cook on high heat really fast, okay? And if people have touched everything, high heat. Really.
Kill step.
Yeah, trying to incorporate a kill step.
It's true. So we have community bowls, which are amazing, and we want kids to know that you're sitting at this table and you're meeting other people, and you're passing this community bowl down and putting ingredients in, which I think is really special. But again, high heat. And then we cook it all, and we were using as a filler, but also because we had so much zucchini, we're putting the zucchini in the red pasta sauce. And then we used an immersion blender. And then that made it nice and chunky, but also a little bit creamy, enough to spread on the pizza. And that was actually super popular. I was surprised because I did it and I was kind of being sneaky about it, and it worked out. So so pizza's very popular. We tried some new things this year. We tried potato and beet gnocchi, which that was Jess. She was like, I did it and it's not so hard. So we had potatoes that we pre-cooked, and then we made a beet puree, and we give people a couple of pieces of potato, we give them a little beet puree, and they're mashing and mixing and stirring and whatever, and then we give them a little Amber Waves flour, and they're making it into a dough ball, and it's a pink dough ball.
And so
Awesome. Yeah, and so you roll it into a snake, and you're like, this snake is getting long. What am I going to do now? Oh my gosh, I get to chop the snake. And so you're chopping the snake into these little pieces, putting on this like community tray, and then you're like, now what's going to happen? And then you're like boiling it in the cauldron, and it's like floating up to the top. And then while that's happening, they're chopping their basil and making a pesto, and then we like put that in the blender and make the pesto. So we serve it to them with like this beautiful pink gnocchi and the pesto, and everyone's like, I can't even believe it. And people eat it. Well, one, probably because it's pink and green, but because they made it, and they made a snake, and they didn't know they were doing that today. And no one's ever made gnocchi, so that was really fun. I would say farm tacos are really important and awesome. This really fun tool, tortilla press, I'm
Do
sure.
I have one of these? I've never used it. But I have one. My kitchen.
It's tricky. Like, you don't have to use this in class, and I used to make sure that I did, but this year I was like, well, sometimes you get the dough a little too wet, and that's okay. But the pressing of it is really exciting for kids. And then the peeling it off the parchment paper is sometimes a little tricky, but depending on the age of the children, we'll use the tortilla press for the older kids, and then for the little kids, we'll just have them press out the tortilla on their cutting board.
With a
their
rolling
hands.
pin or with their
Just their hands.
Press, hand
Yeah,
press.
their hands.
Is that also what they're doing with pizza dough? Any sort of dough or flour-based
Well, the
project?
pizza, I usually par bake the pizza crust, because when you place the par baked pizza crust on the tables, the kids need to put the sauce on and decorate it and make it all pretty. And we cut out shapes with the mozzarella, which was really fun. But we're doing these things to sort of burn time while the sauce is cooking. Everything is designed so that you're doing this one thing. This thing that has to cook, it's got to cook really fast over here, and then you're doing this other thing. And then
I mean,
at the
similar
end,
to
it all
the
comes
way
together.
the way you would do it in your own kitchen. It's just that usually you don't
It's true.
have a classroom full of
Squirmy people.
3-year-olds who are.
Yeah, we do a little cleaning in between, so if things explode everywhere, you can go rinse your cutting board in the wash bin, and then that burns time, of course, because that's really fun too. So let's see, farm tacos, pizza, gnocchi. Oh, we tried pita last week, and we did amazing Greek salad. Oh my gosh, so good, because your tomatoes, y'all, really good. But the pita bread, it's just a beautiful time to do it. And the pita bread was really fun. My husband, George, his family's Lebanese, and he was like, I think you should do Syrian bread. It would be so cool. And so we just sort of modified it. And it's
George was in the kitchen the other day.
Yes, he came just to
and I
have
said,
fun.
oh my gosh, looking good, Chef George. He didn't even look up.
He was taking it really seriously.
So seriously.
Yeah,
And I thought I would just stay in my lane and just keep moving.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to be helpful. And, when you're cooking at home, it's different than when you're like in front of all these people.
I'm so impressed that you inspired your husband to come be your sous chef.
He inspired me. I mean,
Well, equal inspiration.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was nervous to do the bread in the pizza oven, but these uni pizza ovens are so easy and simple, and you get a little bolder as you go along.
Yes.
And I would say we usually test our recipes more or less, but not always, because it's really busy in the middle of the summer. So we had made the bread before, but I'd never really made it in the pizza oven, so it kind of either puffs or it doesn't. But that's okay, because you could either put your salad on top and fold it over, or you can break it apart and find a little pocket in there. And so people worked with it, and it worked fine.
And kids were making their own pita and their own Greek salad, and then stuffing the pita and having a time.
And they
with
ate it, and I rate every recipe we do. I'm always like, hey friends, no pressure, but we really like to rate what we do. So it's a thumbs up, yummy, yucky, or somewhere in the middle where you like something, one of the things, but you didn't like other things. And I mean, the pita and the Greek salad were like 2 thumbs up, which is really exciting.
Did you also make the dressing with them?
The dressing was like in this little cup here. So we had them break apart the oregano, and then we gave them a tablespoon measure for olive oil and white wine vinegar, and then there was lemon to squeeze in there, and then you just pour it right on, and a pinch of salt, can't forget that. You have to monitor that pretty well, but and then they mixed it all around, and some of the kids ate it out of the bowl, just some kids just ate the bread, and that's fine, and some mixed it, and everyone did what they were going to do. And I think everyone was really happy. And so it was really nice to go off on a new recipe. Like at the end of the year, that was our last recipe, and it was just a hit with everyone. And then the week before, we had done an ABC juice, which was really a hit too.
Right, which is why you brought some.
Because what can you do with beets? You want to get beets in your child's body? That's a really hard one.
It is really hard.
It's hard for us to get beets into Katie's body.
Yeah, but you know what I made last night? Beets.
Well,
I just keep practicing.
How'd you do it?
I just cut them and boiled them, and then added a basil garnish with
So you
red
boiled
wine
them,
vinegar.
but then you peeled them?
No, I don't peel. I got to
Okay.
get that fiber.
Yeah,
I got to get that
I'm
skin.
not. I have no interest in peeling. Kind of any. No, anything. Nope, not
No,
anything.
I don't
Planet or
peel
something.
anything.
We
Yeah,
need that.
apples for an
we-
apple pie, maybe.
So can you say that
We
very
need the soil in our bodies, so I barely wash and just cook.
barely washed? Just enough to get the silty grit
Little grit.
slightly off.
I was talking to a CSA member the other day, and she was like, "We're grilling. What do you think we should do with the beets?" And I summoned you honestly, and I was like, "You should olive oil, salt, pepper them, and wrap them in tin foil and kind of toss them in a corner of the grill." Which I have never done myself before. But I was
it
like,
works.
"Yeah, it's going to
It's
work. It's going to
flavorful
work."
'cause
And
they're
she
kinda
came back the
smoky.
next week and said, "Oh my God, they were like, they candied themselves when they kind of like cook in their own juices." So that's a win.
You
if
can
you're-
also do that with carrots too. Same thing.
Yes.
Or a sweet potato.
Or garlic.
Or a tomatillo.
Obviously different direction. But it's a good, but on the coals and tinfoil garlic, that's a great way to do garlic.
And that's kind of like that's sort of like campfire cooking or on the beach cooking, right?
Yes.
So kids are going to more than likely eat something if you're on the beach with them and you've done this little thing and
Yeah.
Okay, back to your juice though.
Oh,
Back
yeah.
to ABC juice.
So ABC juice, like A is for
Apple.
B is for
Beets,
C is for
carrots.
yes. Okay, so you probably have an apple laying around somewhere, and I would say that
You feel like we shouldn't do asparagus?
I don't know.
Amaranth.
Just kidding. Save
But
it for
asparagus and beets and a juice, I mean, the next day you're going to be like, I might be dying, you know? And I forgot to tell the children actually about the beets because
about what's gonna happen.
Yeah, because that could be scary. Anyway, no, I didn't get any calls or emails, so I guess we're okay.
Okay.
But we use like a Granny Smith apple or whatever tart apples in season. But there wasn't exactly that. But that's okay.
Well, we're kind of just getting
just
into the
starting.
very.
Yeah.
We're in the second half of August, so we're just
Honeycrisp would be fantastic.
we're just getting into the local apples. Like the first are around, but
So it's almost time for
it's
the old
almost time.
ABC. And school's about to start, so ABC, here we go. So we use a crisp tart apple, and then we didn't use a ton of the beets. It was like a half a beet. And that's totally fine. And then we used 2 carrots. But then we also added lime, like a segment of lime, and you juice the whole thing, the peel and all. And then we had a little teeny piece of ginger, and that gave it like a little zing.
Wow.
And maybe ginger's not something you have laying around the house, or you do and it it looks sad.
it's just
But
I
it's
don't.
still
Yes.
probably works.
Generally shriveled, but I just find it to be more concentrated.
Yeah.
Especially if it's going-
dehydrated.
especially if it's going in a juice. It's just going to plump right back up. So I was
So wait, can you say like then the ratio again of what you were doing, like that makes about how much quantity and how much water are you putting in?
Well, we didn't do like a really big serving because truthfully, it takes a lot. So I'd say we did like a half of one of these little cups.
It's
or
like a 5-sip.
or this little guy here. too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we use like a half of a full apple
Okay.
and then a half of a beet and then 2 carrots and then one
then a
segment of lime.
Like, okay.
Like just a quarter of a lime and then like fingernail size of ginger. The ginger can be very overpowering, so you
Yes.
wouldn't want to go too far.
And then were you adding water or no?
No, but if you were like, wow, this is not as juicy as I thought, or this is not producing enough, you just add more apple.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong there. Or add more carrot. I wouldn't necessarily add more beet. The beet adds this fantastic color, and it's like a sunset. It's like pink and orange, and they're like, whoa, and they can't believe it. And that gives them the mustache, which is for my viewing pleasure only. I will tell them.
And you're doing this in an actual juicer.
Yes, I have something called a blueser, which I got like repurposed, which you can use as a blender or a juicer. But if you have a juicer, those things are large. They take up a lot of space under your counter, and you
Yes.
use them like occasionally. If you don't wash it right away, you're mad at yourself.
There's a lot of different, a lot of small parts.
Yeah, and
I was kind of asking, so I was like, could you get away with doing this in a Vitamix, or like not really? You wouldn't because the lime peel would be weird. Maybe the other things would be okay.
Chunky.
Yeah.
I think it's a textural mouthfeel thing.
I think you would be, if you want to make a smoothie, you could do a Vitamix. But the beet in a smoothie, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That's very fibrous. There's your fiber for you.
Yeah.
But it
That's
is
right.
fun to tell kids, like when you cut a carrot in half, it looks like the inside of your eye. And then beets are great for your blood, and then apple is detoxifying for your liver. Right. ABC, can't go wrong.
Okay, I think that that's also like they will remember that the inside of the carrot looks like the eye. It's good for my eye. Thanks, Amanda.
Thanks, Katie. Thanks, Anne, for coming from the, coming across the flowers.
Across the
For
way.
People who are watching, your zone is 100 yards behind us in the outdoor classroom. So thanks for crossing to pick your own flowers to sit with us on this side.
Anytime. Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it. Thanks
We
for all
so
you do.
loved your tips and tricks and tools, and just I think the message is get your kids outside, in touch with nature, and get them in the kitchen with you, and you'll see what unfolds. I think it's providing that opportunity is just fun for everyone.
And I think it's, if you don't have kids, also just get a spiralizer anyway.
I agree.
Just like for your life.
For your life, it's really important. You can impress your friends. It's really fun. You can have people over.
I'm seriously impressed with that cucumber salad.
It's very simple. Oh, you haven't tasted the zucchini noodles yet, but you probably have made those before. But man, those are the best.